Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of rokrbox TV. My name is Josh Cunningham. I'm the founder and CEO here at rokrbox. I've got another wonderful guest for you today. We've got joining us from Nashville, Tennessee, Aaron Ammon, one of the partners at the Movement Property Group. How's it going today, Aaron?
It's going well. Thanks, Josh. Thanks for having me.
Certainly. Well, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us and talk to us a little bit about your fast track to success. You've got an amazing story. You joined up with some partners just a year ago to create the Movement Property Group, and last year you did 34 million in production. And you explained to me earlier that you're already on pace to hit over 74 million in production this year. That's incredible, more than doubling your production in your first 2 years. So congratulations. But why don't you go ahead and give our fans here and our audience a little bit more information about who you are and how you got into real estate and what your future endeavors look like as well.
Yeah, good question. So I tell people that my real estate journey started in 2015. I was living in Birmingham, Alabama, and decided to flip a house. Had no idea what I was doing. Honestly, in retrospect, people ask me all the time, they're like, did you have the prop LLC set up? Did you have these insurance policies? And I'm like, man, I had nothing. Like the fact that I survived and didn't get, sued into oblivion is quite amazing. But somehow managed to squeak out a small profit and thought, real estate's pretty cool. I kind of then began to see it as a vehicle for a way to create, a career. And so I didn't end up getting into it full time until, like you said, last year. And I had been licensed for a little bit at that point and met up with two guys who were doing something similar. We decided to join forces and create Movement Property Group. And yeah, I mean, we'll see where we go from here. I mean, what I tell people a lot with real estate is, it's such a vast industry, and the reality getting into real estate is what you think you're going to be doing on day one is, night and day different than what you're actually doing, 2, 3, 4 years into it. And, our testimony of what we've done so far and what we expect to do with rokrbox is, a perfect example of that.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that's the cliche, path of an entrepreneur is the little diagram that goes up and around and in circles, but eventually continues to go up and to the right because, like you said, whatever you anticipate on day one is not necessarily what you're doing 2 or 3 years down the road. But why don't you kind of talk us through a little bit of your young history here? So you partnered up with a couple other agents. You've been building the team. You've gotten into online internet leads. How long have you been generating those leads, and what were some of the frustrations that you faced that caused you to turn to rokrbox as a solution?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we were primarily a sphere-based team early on. I think a lot of teams start that way. We're just trying to figure out if we could prove the concept, even with our local network here. Once we got that up off the ground, I would say maybe starting 12 months ago, we started to kind of play around with different lead options. You try this or that or whatever. You hear people talking about, options they've done. And, honestly, we were kind of victim to the rookie mentality of, how can we spin the lease and get leads? And honestly, we just fell on our face. It was, that's great. We were spending the lease in terms of amount of dollars, but we were just draining our time because, the leads that were coming in, I'll let everybody insert the hilarious name of lead that they've seen most recently. That was our entire inbox, was just these crap leads. And so we decided probably around this time last year, so last fall, to explore what it would look like to partner with a good CRM for the first time. And so we did a full evaluation, spent, a couple months looking at CRM partners, ended up with Boomtown. And we love those guys. And when we came on with them, they had a product kind of similar to what rokrbox offers. They call it Concierge. And, they essentially say, look, we'll handle the early communication. We'll, speed the lead. We'll get them within 5 minutes, et cetera, et cetera. And that's great. I mean, in terms of the volume we were producing, they were executing on what they promised. We kind of got to the point with where we were wanting to go, that their plan just wasn't really matching up and aligning with, our plan as far as long-term trajectory. And so we started looking for partners that we could come alongside. And we actually reached out inside the Boomtown community to see who else was in a similar position and who they were using. And long story short, somebody said, hey, we use this company called rokrbox. This is what they're about. And so I jumped onto the rokrbox website and watched some of your videos, Josh, and thought, nice. This is perfect. So yeah, I feel like I just talked and I can't remember what the original question was, but that's how we ended up with rokrbox.
Well, I think what we were highlighting here was just you were talking about the plan being more congruent with your long-term, database development and online lead conversion. And I know that one of the things that separates us, makes us unique than most of the other solutions that are out there, is just the number of calls that we make. I mean, everybody wants to claim that they're solving this problem by, sending text messages or sending emails or maybe placing one call here or there. But the number one most effective way for us to convert online leads, and we've been doing this since 2013, is a good old fashioned phone call. And so we understand that that's our strength at the core, is that, our goal is to hire and train very young and successful entrepreneurs and young professionals. Of course, our talent pools in College Station, Texas, which is where Texas A&M is home to, but we're hiring all these young and enthusiastic college students to train them, on lead management, on lead conversion, scripts, dialogues, CRM development, all of this stuff that really sets them up for success in their future, wherever they graduate and decide to pursue a career in. But the benefit to you is that you're actually getting people that are taking this work seriously. It's something that's very, important in their lives. It's going to help move them to higher heights once they graduate. And we really, really take a lot of pride in making great quality phone calls. So like you said, those leads are getting called right away. If they don't answer the first time around, we're going to call them 7 more times in the first couple of weeks, which again, that's the most effective way to convert these leads. You just got to do it. And then of course, if we do get a lead on the phone that says they want to buy a home, but let's say they're not ready yet, they're more of a long-term lead, we don't want to hand that over to your agent, because we know what's going to happen at that point. They're just going to lose track of it. It's going to slip through the cracks. They're not going to have that follow-up system that they need in place to monetize that database. So we keep those leads in our client care account, and we follow up with them indefinitely, so until the end of time. So it's those 3 core strategies that really kind of help set you up for success and create that long-term plan that's congruent with your future success. So
yeah, and I'll jump in on that too. I mean, the bigger vision, the macro vision that we had at play whenever we set out to even start interviewing CRMs was, how can we design our funnel? How can we design our funnel that, that actually works for our agents? And so I think one of the things we found early on with concierge, and no disrespect to their system, but the reason it didn't work for us is because, let's say we get 1,000 registrations on our website a month, and let's say we've got 10 team members. We're just using round numbers. Okay, well, that's 100 leads that are getting, placed in the hands of our agents, albeit they're being qualified by the concierge, but they're assigned to our agents in the system on a monthly basis. And so what was happening is, because there was not an in-between between the website and our agents, over time, it just kind of created what we refer to as a low quality score for leads. And so inevitably, our team members, our agents, kind of started disrespecting the leads. Like when their phone buzzes and they get a lead, they're like, it's probably crap.
Yeah.
Honestly, over time, it was like, I can't blame them for thinking that way. So, rokrbox specifically helped us solve that problem, because it was like, okay, and we communicated this to agents. We said, look, you've been getting 100 leads. Okay, we're now going to have a contracted ISA step in and qualify these. So instead of 100, you're getting 10, but when you get 10, these are real people. They've been spoken to. They're ready in the next 30 to 90 days, to buy real estate. So really for us, it was a cultural shift in just how our team members were approaching these leads in the first place.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I love to hear that. We call that lead fatigue, right? When you get, you'd alluded earlier to some of the names that you see, we'll just call them Mickey Mouse and Scooby-Doo. Nobody ever uses profanity when they register on these websites at all. But, you got to weed through all those. And you're right, your phone, it makes a noise, it dings at you, you get excited, where that's like that Pavlov effect, your mouth starts watering, you think you're going to get that hot lead, and it's, Scooby-Doo or Mickey Mouse, or, someone who's just not even interested in the market that you serve. And so by taking out that step, it's really delegating out that difficult work to someone who's happy to do it. We built a phenomenal culture within our organization that makes us proud to do that work. And that allows you, the next step in the sales funnel, to be proud of that type of work that you're doing as well, because that is the work that does require the local market knowledge, that requires inventory expertise, that requires the ability to, make a connection, build rapport, and start to create influence on your clients. Because those people are, like you said, they're 30 to 60, 90 days away from making a purchase. That's when they need that level of expertise. But all the people on the outside of the funnel, that are just kicking tires, or just looky-loos, or they're just, a nosy neighbor, that level of expertise is, like I said, that's what we have at rokrbox, which is just handling a really good quality phone conversation and making sure to keep it all about the other person on the other end of the phone, so that we don't have to have market knowledge about Nashville. We don't have to have, inventory expertise. We just basically filter out, find the people that do need that. And then, like you said, rather than pushing all the 100 through to your agents and creating that confusion, instead it's roughly about a 10% conversion. So now they have 10 hot names and numbers that they know their assistant, which is how we refer ourselves as your assistant, just vetted this lead and gave them a promise that one of the experts is going to be reaching out to them. So love to hear that, man, because we're a huge culture driven organization, and so it always makes a lot of sense when we align with other organizations that take a lot of pride in the quality of the work and the solution that you're providing to your clients. So great share there. Well, other than that, I mean, you've been building this wonderful team. You've been doubling in production, year after year. You've got a lot of wonderful things, mapped out ahead of you. What are some of your big goals for 2022? And, what are some of the results that you kind of expect to see given our new partnership?
Yeah, this is a good question. So I think at a high level, one of the things we were looking for with rokrbox, or really any of the partners that we choose to partner with at this point, are, what does it look like to scale with you? And so, we've seen how rokrbox has performed at the level that we've brought, you guys on early. But, my goal, because it was really my responsibility between, me and my two partners to really get on and bring on rokrbox, bring on the CRM and prove that the system works. And then if it does, we can kind of scale into the future to answer your question. And so the way I like to visualize is once the concept is proven, then it's like, I see myself holding levers, and I can just pull levers to just dump more money into the system. And so, I think our dream early on when we started this company was, man, what if we could do 100 million in volume, which is funny now because in 2 years we're already, almost 75 million, and, short of a few major deals between now and the end of the year. I mean, you're not that far off. And so, I think my goal in the next 5 years, it's a bold goal. I want to be $1 billion team. Wow. I know that they exist. I've met some of those team owners. And if you're going to be $1 billion team, you have to understand how to create a system that scales, like we were just talking about. So I think in a lot of ways, when I'm sitting at my desk, I think about myself less being in real estate and more like running like a UPS facility. And we're like, what the heck does that even mean? It's like, I see like a warehouse, I see a factory, I see conveyor belts. Like, that's what we do. And, for us, the bigger purpose is not only serving our clients, but it's also creating an opportunity for our team members to join our team and make a really good living for their family in a way that they couldn't do if they were solo and didn't have the spend and all the systems that we have set up to bring them business. And so to answer your question, I mean, in the next 3 to 5 years, I want to be $1 billion team. I want to create, opportunity for people to come join alongside of us as our team members and our agents and create good income for their family.
That's awesome, man. I know that you have sat through our free online web class that we offer every single week, part of the process to get signed up for rokrbox. But I just want to reiterate, because you kind of highlighted it yourself, the 3 keys to building a predictable revenue engine for your business is, number one, you got to have systems and processes, which it sounds like you're doing an incredible job of developing that and building that, because that's what you have to be able to rely on. You have to be able to, teach it, explain it, learn it, measure it, improve it. That's what a system is. You've got to have an incredible source of talent, which it sounds like you're doing a great job bringing on the right people with the right attitude, that you're looking to create more freedom in their life, more opportunity in their life. And then the third key that we say at rokrbox, and we bring it up last, but it really comes first, and that's have the right culture in place to make sure that that system is always improving and that talent is always upgrading and developing. So it sounds like you've got all that stuff in place as well, and great to hear that we're very aligned on our values and on what our vision for success is. So if you knew anybody that was considering signing up for rokrbox, or joining a CRM, or getting on Boomtown, or just kind of the path with all the research that you've done over the last several months, what would you have to advise or give them some feedback or some pointers?
I mean, I think anytime I'm considering an investment personally, or we're considering investing in something as a business, we're looking at 2 things. What's the potential ROI? What do we have to gain here? And then also, how can we mitigate, the risk associated with the investment? And to me, one of the things I really like about rokrbox is, Kelsey Chenault is our manager. I don't know what you guys call it, but having those meetings, I meet with Kelsey twice a month on Zoom to review the activity in the account, to look at how we can improve. I mean, that's what I'm doing for my business. I'm constantly looking at how can we audit what we're doing currently and improve it for the future, and to partner with somebody like rokrbox who says, well, we want to do the same thing, not only for y'all's benefit, but for our benefit, to audit those systems and make sure that we're positioning ourselves for the success we're looking for in the future. And so those are the two things that I would point out to anybody considering rokrbox is, one, what's the potential ROI? Two, how mitigated is that risk? And to me, those are both wins with rokrbox. Like I explained before, I think that rokrbox has the scalability with us to make us $1 billion team. And I think because of, the amount of meetings that take place throughout the month to audit our processes, it mitigates our risk to a high degree where, if things weren't working, we would know quickly. So to me, it's almost a no-brainer. Once I discovered rokrbox, it was a no-brainer to move forward, and we're so happy we did.
That's awesome. Really glad to hear that. And yeah, the ramp up coaching program is what you're kind of referring to there. That's something that we put a lot of pride and passion into, because it's one thing for us to make the calls and do the work for you. We're logged in your CRM all day, every day, doing all that work, but it's also very important for you to understand what in the heck we're doing to make your agent's life easier. And so that's why we have our unlimited coaching program. You've got all that access to Kelsey. And of course, she's an absolute rock star. She's been with the company for over 6 years now and started out as a caller herself. And the wonderful perspective that she gets to provide you, as well as getting work with all the different teams all across the country, big, small, East Coast, West Coast, you name it, she's done it. So there's a lot of perspective that she can and insights that she can provide. So glad to hear you're seeing a lot of value in that as well. Let's say one of our viewers here has a referral for you in Nashville. How would you recommend someone get a hold of you if they've got a deal, a buyer, a seller, maybe an investor in or out of your area that needs some help, wants to work with some rock star agents?
Well, I would say just send them through to our registration on our website, which would send them right back to rokrbox, then right back to me. But I'll say if it's a personal referral, hey, we're in real estate. We all understand that our cell phone numbers are published at this point. So you can find us at www.movementpropertygroup.com. I'm listed there on the team section. You can reach out to me directly anytime.
Awesome.
We'd be happy to work with any of your buyers, sellers, or investors.
Perfect. Well, thanks again, Aaron. I know you got a busy schedule ahead of you, and really, really appreciate you taking the time to share your story with us today. Very excited for our continued growth in the future, and I just can't wait to see. We can maybe do another one of these next year and see if you double your production again and be at 150 million next year. So the bar has been set really high.
That's right. Well, we'd love to do it, and I'm rooting for you guys too. I want to take a look at your numbers as well.
Yeah, appreciate it. Well, hey, thanks again, Aaron Ammon, ladies and gentlemen, from partner from the Movement Property Group in Nashville, Tennessee. Thanks again for watching, and stay tuned for future guests and future success stories on how to convert more deals and increase your internet lead conversion. So thanks again, Aaron. Have a good one.
Thank you, Josh.
All right, take care.